Come on down this way, ma'am. Just remain standing for a moment. Raise your right hand. Swear that any testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the painful penalties of perjury. All right. You should be seated right there. Do me a favor, just kind of scoot forward so you're close to the microphone and try to put your voice up so everybody can hear you.
Thank you.
Counsel, when you're ready, you can inquire.
Appreciate it. Can you state your name and spell your name for the court reporter,
Yes,
please?
I'm Kyndra Violette, and it's Kyndra.
And would you mind spelling your last
Yes,
name for her
of
as well?
course. Violette.
Where do you live right now?
I live at 277 Chestnut Hill Road with my grandmother.
And is there another address that you call home as well?
Yes, 43 Summer Street on the weekends in my vacation time.
All right. Tell me a little bit about that. You said you lived at a specific address with your grandmother. What town is that in?
It's in Farmington. I go there because I've proceeded school there ever since I was in 4th grade, and we've lived with her for like 5 years.
In order to facilitate your education in the
Yes.
school?
Yes.
People you've met there, friends in the Farmington school system?
Yes.
No teachers in that school system as well?
Yes.
At some point while you were living in Farmington, were you living there also with your parents?
Yes.
And can you just tell us, if it's not obvious, who are your parents?
My parents are Angie LaChance and Kyle Violette.
And so was there a time when Angela and Kyle moved to that address in Rochester that you just talked about?
Yes.
And in order not to switch schools, you stayed with your grandmother?
Yes.
And can I ask who else do you live with? Who else is in your family?
The only other person I live with is my brother.
Okay. And does he also do the same
He does,
gig
yes.
back and forth?
Yes.
All right. You mentioned you're doing this because of school.
Yes.
Are you still in school?
I am, yes.
What grade are you?
I'm a senior.
What age does that put you at?
I'm 18, so 12th grade.
Okay. How do you like school?
I love school. I have all A's and B's right now.
Nice. What do you love about it? What kinds of things do you study?
Probably just the education and friends.
And do you have any kind of plan? It sounds like you're graduating this year.
I do. I started early college classes for social working, and I'm going to continue that in the summer as well.
Okay. Is that the social work
Yes.
education, is that local? Are you still going to be around?
Yes, I am. It's through Great Bay Community College.
Understood.
Yes.
Then if I could move attention and focus attention to the address in Rochester. It's 43 Summer Street?
Yes, it is.
Can you describe for us a little bit about the interior? You know, we went out there, took a look at the place from outside. We didn't go in. Can you
Of
just
course.
kind of give us a rough breakdown of how people are situated living in there?
Are you talking about like the living or like the layout of the house?
Let's start with living, and I'd like to do it from the time frame of April of last year.
Okay. So like what happened that day?
No, just before we get there, kind of fill in who lived there and where the rooming situation
Yeah,
was.
of course. So in that house at that time, it was my other grandmother living in the front studio apartment, and then there was a split house, and it was me, my mom, my dad, and my brother in there. And during that time, we all have different rooms upstairs. Downstairs is like the living room, just where everybody hangs out, but upstairs is where our rooms are.
And I don't want to bring up more sensitive issues for you, but I understand your grandmother who lived in the front unit has since passed away.
Yes.
Okay. And so, but at the time, when grandmother lived out front, you on the weekends and other times would live and have a room at 43.
Yes.
Where was that room?
My
Upstairs?
room was upstairs. It was in the middle of my brother's and my parents' room.
And then let's again go back to April or last year. In addition to going to school and going back and forth, were you doing anything else? Were you working, for instance?
Yes, I have been working at Portsmouth Gaslight. It's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant?
Yes.
What do you do there?
I serve right now, but I used to host.
Anybody else work there that you know?
My mother.
What does she do there?
She bartends.
All right. And do you guys go in together?
Yes, we do.
What are your usual hours at the Gaslight when you're working?
Usually after school, it's like 4:30 to 9. Usually I do like 5 days a week. I have 2 days off.
All right. And Kyndra, I do now want to, I just don't want to, intrude unnecessarily into your life, so let's keep this focused. I want to talk about April 4th of last year. What was going on earlier in the day for you, if you recall?
I went to school that day, I believe. I had school, it was a Thursday, and I went to my parents' house because we didn't have school on Friday, nor the weekend, so it was like a longer vacation for us to be over there. So it was like 3, we just got out of school. We went home, I didn't have work that day, so we all kind of just hung out in our rooms. I believe we were going to watch a movie later on in the night, but we ended up not. We just made dinner instead.
And remember anything about the weather?
I don't. It was it was cold. It was snowing.
Yep. Did that snow affect your, now recalling that it was snowing, did that affect your school schedule at all? Do you know?
I don't recall. I do not.
Okay. And so it sounds like you have a memory of the evening,
Yes.
the plans with your family,
Yes.
watch a movie, dinner.
Yes.
Tell me about what you were doing later in the evening.
I ate dinner and I went up to my room and I was gonna watch my own movie, and I watched some TikToks on my phone, and my parents were in their room at the time and my brother was in his room. I believe he was sleeping. It was already like 8 or 9 at the time.
Tell us what happened later that is obviously unusual.
Yeah, I was laying in my bed and my mom came in my room and she was just like, "Your dad's going to talk to the neighbor about plowing snow in the driveway." And I was like, okay, and we both walked downstairs. We were messing around in the living room talking to each other, and I ended up looking out the window to see if anything was going on, and I saw my dad walking home to walk away, but I didn't see the prior situation of him going out there. I think when I was going down the stairs, he was about to go outside. So I just saw when he was walking away and when Jason pulled the gun out.
You saw the gun come up?
Yes.
Kyndra, do you know whether or not your home, your parents utilized a home surveillance system?
Yes.
You said you were looking out a window to see some of these events. Can you describe that window for us if we were looking from the exterior of the building?
Yes, it's the window outside from our porch. It's like the huge window where you can see like the road and you can see some of the neighbors' houses across the street and the one across from us.
And that's the window you were looking out from?
Yes.
Is that also a window that utilizes a home security system?
It is, yes.
I feel like I interrupted you, and I don't want to necessarily have you talk or relive this, but can you describe to me again, I didn't quite follow what you saw when you looked out the window.
Yeah, when I looked out the window, I saw a truck open, the door open, and I saw Jason Levesque standing out of it. And I saw my dad walking to the house. He was just walking back on the side of the street, on the side of the road. And I saw Jason Levesque just pull the gun out. And that's when I yelled to my mom, "He has a gun." And at the time, all I could do was just run out the door. So I ran out the door, and that's when my dad was already on the ground. And I looked at Jason and I said, "You shot my dad," like 3 times. He didn't say anything.
Do you need just a second?
Thank you.
I want to ask you some more questions.
Of course.
You said you saw a truck.
Yes.
Can you describe generally where you saw that truck?
It was parked on the side of the street. It was more on his side of the property, Jason Levesque, but it was also kind of hitting in the middle of ours. So it was kind of in between of his steps, but also in the middle of entrancing our driveway.
You said you kind of have a memory of some of these events, the actions, the moments, and then going out to see your dad.
Yes.
Can you describe your father when you went out outside of your home?
He was laying there. He was laying on the ground. He was just like curled up in a ball.
And how did he appear to you?
Hurt.
How?
He was just bleeding everywhere. And he didn't say anything. And I was just holding it. And then I went to go get towels in the house because I didn't know what to do.
Did anybody else come outside?
My mom.
Your
She
mother?
came out after, yes.
Your mother, Angela?
Yes.
And while your mother was outside, is that when you went to get towels?
That is, yes.
And then what did you do? What other actions, if any, did you take?
My mom was outside yelling, "Call the cops," when I brought the towels back out. And I believe she was already on the phone with them, but that's when I started to dial 911 as well.
Did you complete that call to 911?
I did, yes.
And share with me what happens after both you and your mother call 911.
I stayed on the call because the officer wanted me to stay on the call until the ambulance and the other police got there. So they came, I would probably say at least 2 minutes after the call.
And during that time, from when you came out and the 2 minutes, did your dad move, change locations?
No, he was just facing the snowbank and just curled up in a ball still.
On the ground?
Yes.
And you said that the police arrived some 2 minutes later
Yes.
by your estimate. Can you just briefly describe for us what happens next?
Yeah, my dad was laying there and that's when one of the cops came up and they took off his shirt, ripped it off, and the ambulance were putting him on one of those chairs to put him in the ambulance.
Did you observe for a period of time officers and the EMTs attempting to treat your dad?
No, not much afterwards.
And then after you were outside, can you tell us what other contact you may have had with police officers or law enforcement investigating this?
I don't think I had contact other than when one cop came in my house to ask, like, questions about what happened and asked if we had camera footage and all that.
Do you know whether or not you viewed or officers viewed the footage and whether that was turned over to?
Yes, it was turned over that night. My mother handed over my dad's phone.
Some of the events that you have described, do you believe they were captured on the video, the home surveillance system?
I do.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd like to reorient and perhaps Attorney Sistian and Mr. Levesque would like to reorient. If we could have a few minutes.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll say that this is the bane of my existence. We'll move it forward, and if the court can inquire whether there are any issues with the view of it, we'll try and accommodate. Could you give us a minute?
Everybody can see it. witness get up?
With the court's permission, I'm going to ask that the witness step into the well, Your Honor.
That's fine.
Thank
You
you.
ready to do that now?
I am.
Can all jurors see the television while you're sitting? See?
Well, Your Honor, we'll pause it at the first image and reconfirm. But
Do you need the lights to do anything, or is it bright enough with the...
sorry, Mike. I can bring the mic back.
No, lights. We're going to need to dim the lights eventually? Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with that.
Okay. Kyndra, I'm going to ask you to step down with the judge's permission away from the witness stand.
Staff members of the jury, can you all, down the end, can you all see that? Very good.
And it's possible, it's best if you kind of move forward into the well but not block jurors. And I am showing you, Your Honor, this has been pre-marked for identification as states number 2.
Thank you.
Kyndra, you've described your view outside a window that's consistent with surveillance video from your home. Do you recognize this image? And can you explain for the record what you are seeing?
I'm seeing the same
And is this inquiry with the court reporter whether or not the witness needs a mic? Yes, Mike?
Keep your voice up, man. This is being picked up, I think.
I'm going to move this and try and keep my voice up. I think you just identified this as that bay window in your house that's adjacent to the porch from outside if you were looking at the house. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And is this then not only consistent with the view, but with what you understand to be the surveillance video from your home?
Yes, that is the only one I have seen.
I'm going to ask co-counsel, if we could proceed.
Well, at this point, Your Honor, let me just it's for ID, and I don't mind us being stricken all the way. I want this as a full exhibit.
Agreed.
So is it agreement this is now a full exhibit? Yes?
It's a full exhibit.
Very good. This will be marked as State's Exhibit 2 as a full exhibit.
Could we play?
And you're allowed to play it, yes. Fast forward.
Start at the beginning, please.
Thank you, whoever did that.
You recognize that vehicle that just came into view from right to left?
I do, yes.
What is that vehicle?
I believe that is Jason's truck.
Can you identify the house on the far side of this driveway in the foreground?
Yes, I can.
Whose house is that?
That is Jason's house.
At 41?
Yes.
Kyndra, is this lighting consistent with what you recall?
Yes.
And you recognize that as the same vehicle?
I do.
Yeah, can you pause right there? You had said that earlier that you were able to see essentially Jason get out of his truck. Are you able to identify his door opening in this image?
I do not. But when I was watching further to the right-hand side of the window, so I was seeing the very.
Okay. Can you play? Can you stop it? And who is this who just left, apparently, your home?
Dad.
And now in the left-hand image, and it may require you to move forward, are you able to identify Mr. Levesque in the far left next to the porch?
I was not out at that time, so no.
Okay. You said you were able to see him from the window.
Yes.
Can we keep playing?
Yep, there he goes. I don't know, he's all the way up there. You better not do anything stupid. Oh, you better not do anything fucking dumb here. Is gonna... No, he's getting drunk. He hasn't got out of the cab. Ah! He just shot him! He just shot him! Hey!
Can you rewind that to... Yeah, right there. Were you able to see, Kyndra, your dad and Jason in the far image when you were inside?
When I was watching that,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay. And whose voice is that in the, I guess, background or the overlay of this video?
My mom.
Was fair to say your mom was also with you watching out this window?
She was not watching. She was just in the living room.
Okay. And can we advance it forward again? What's that? Yeah. Back from when they were at the truck, though.
You better not do anything stupid. Oh, you better not do anything fucking dumb. No, he's gonna get drunk. He hasn't got out of the cab. Ah! He just shot him! He just shot him! Hey!
Can you identify who that is? And now?
My mom.
Is this when you came back into the home to get the towels?
I need a call. Call 911.
And are you in fact calling 911 at this
Yes.
time? Okay. Your Honor, I believe by agreement the ID is struck and this is now moved as a full exhibit in evidence.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So we're done showing this at this point? Can we all go back where we are, or is there more testimony?
We can. I am good.
Good. Thank you. Go back.
I'd like it available for cross-examination.
It'll be available.
Bring the lights back up.
If I may, Your Honor. If I may.
Yes.
So you had testified earlier that the police arrived in short order. What happened to your dad afterwards?
He got taken to Frisbee Hospital, I believe.
And what did you do later?
I actually stayed at home and my mom went to go
To
see
go?
my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
And I assume your brother was at home.
Yes.
And did you stay with your brother?
Yes.
Is that parts of that video a fair representation of what you saw and experienced that night?
No, I believe it's correct.
Okay. Thank you. I could have a moment here. Kyndra, thank you. Attorney Sisti has some questions.
Of course.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon.
Hi, Sisti. How are you?
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Everybody calls me that. Hey, let me ask you something, okay? We never met before.
Yes.
Okay. But that was horrific to watch, right?
Yes.
I mean, seeing your dad get shots is going to be about the most terrible thing.
Yes, it is.
Especially, I mean, a daughter and a father.
Yes, you are correct.
I mean, you're dedicated to him, right?
I love him, yes.
And he loves you like crazy, right?
I like crazy, yes.
Right. And It's kind of a special bond, right?
Yes.
You were talking, you were calling Jason, but prior to the 4th of April, you didn't really know Jason, right?
I didn't know him too much, no.
No? I mean, there wasn't any real connection there between your family and his family, right?
No, not much, no.
Right. I mean, you live next door.
Yes.
He never bothered you, right?
No, I have not had contact with him ever.
Let me ask you something straight up, okay? On that particular day, the 4th of April, at that particular time, there was a voice that the jury heard on that video, and it wasn't yours, was it?
What voice was it, sir?
Yeah, it would have said, "I hope he doesn't do anything stupid." Did you recall hearing that?
I did, but that was not my voice, no.
No. Do you know whose voice that was?
That was my mother.
Right. And again, I'm going to say this, and I don't want to offend you with words,
Okay.
but there was also a comment that was, "I hope he doesn't do anything fucking dumb."
Yeah.
And who would that have been?
Who would that be towards?
Yeah.
I do not know.
This was after your father left the house?
This was, yes.
Okay. And you saw the video.
I did.
It's absolutely terrible, I'm sure, for you to see. I may have to ask you to see it again. Is that okay?
That is all right.
Okay. All right. But I'm going to ask you a few things about it, then I think I'm going to ask that it be played again, just so everybody understands what's going on here, okay?
That is okay.
Okay. We're looking out the window, and it does show your driveway, right?
Yes, it does.
And the driveway is not plowed in any way, shape, or form, right?
No, it is not. We were going to have my friend's dad come plow it.
Right.
Yes.
And the Department of Public Works in Rochester had plowed that day,
Yes.
and you could see where they plowed because there was a ridge of snow at the end of your driveway.
Yes.
Okay. And that was there prior to Jason and the truck ever showing up, right?
Yes, we did have snow.
Yes. A great deal of snow.
Yes, we did.
Okay. And as you're watching that particular video, would it be fair to say you couldn't hear what was going on outside, right?
Yes, of course.
You don't know what your father said to Jason?
I do not know.
You don't know what Jason, if anything, would have said to your father, right?
You are right.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you something else. Did you ever meet Jason's daughter?
I have never.
Never.
No.
So what we saw in the video, and I'm probably going to have it rubbed up again. I hate to do this to you, if you understand. I really do. Okay. But what we saw was that your driveway wasn't plowed, and we saw Jason operating his plow truck out in the road, right?
Yes.
And there's that telephone pole, light pole, that's pretty visible in that video.
Yes, sir.
And you may not know this, but the jury went out with us this morning to that scene so we could all see it together.
Okay.
So now we're all talking about the same thing.
Of course.
And we know that that telephone pole, light pole, is on the other side of your driveway, the Levesque side of the driveway.
It is. It's at the end of our driveway, yes.
Right. And we saw the plow truck plowing snow, and it only went up to the telephone pole, correct?
It did go a little past the telephone.
Okay. It wasn't blocking your driveway.
No, it wasn't, no.
And then what we see, did you actually see Jason get out of the truck?
I did not. I just saw them outside of the car together.
All right. So you saw your father approaching Jason, right?
No, I saw when my dad was walking away from Jason.
Okay, so you never even saw the initial contact.
No, I was upstairs in my room.
So you don't know how any of that started at all that evening, right?
I do not know. I just know it was obviously over snow.
Yeah, well, something was
Yes,
going on.
yes.
And obviously there was a shooting at the end of it, right?
Yes.
But you don't know what started it, right?
I do not know.
And you don't know how it got to the point where a firearm was used, right?
No, I do not, sir.
I'm going to, just for clarification, just so we make sure we know where the positions are and what took place, I'm going to ask to have that re-shown if I could. Thank you. I may ask you a couple questions as it's going, so you may want to take.
That is totally okay.
Okay, thank you. And we can run it to the spot, or a little before the spot where you ended it. I just need the graphics up to that spot. We got to go all the way back
I apologize. To the beginning or to?
to the beginning.
Beginning, or do you want to?
No, begin. The beginning's good. Okay, it takes a little time before we get to the action here. So, and again, this is your driveway, right? And it's unplowed. And it doesn't look like much action there. Some little tire tracks, but nothing out to the road, right? Okay. Not a lot of coming and going that day. Here we go. This would have been Jason's truck. Okay.
Can the jurors hear the witness's answer? Yes? Okay, very good.
And again, you didn't see any of this either, did you?
I did not know.
Right. But it certainly shows that night, doesn't it?
Yes.
Where's your bedroom relative to this location?
Mine is upstairs, and you have a window on the top that points out that way, kind of.
Okay.
Or I was,
Okay, so you're actually looking out the window too.
at this time, no, I was in,
You're in bed.
yes.
Tell me when you're starting to look out the window.
I don't know my mom came, and she said that.
Okay.
She was going for a conversation.
Is this about where you get to see it?
No, they were
Yeah.
already talking.
They were already talking.
Yes.
Can you agree with me that Jason's truck is not obstructing anything on your property?
At the moment, yes.
Again, just keep it up to speed. You still didn't see this part either, right? Good. Okay, now were you situated a little bit more to the right at this point? Okay, you saw your dad later? Okay, can we stop it right there for a second? Thank you. Jason's truck, you can hardly even see, right?
You can hardly even see from the corner that is that. I was at the other corner.
I get it, but it would have been entirely away from your property.
What do you mean?
It wasn't near your driveway at that point.
You backed up, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was
So, yeah.
quite a bit of,
It
yeah.
wasn't in our property now.
No, it wasn't. And you'd agree with me that throughout the entire playing of this video that we've all been watching, that truck wasn't obstructing your driveway at all.
You can tell that the snow is being pushed at the end of our driveway.
It was pushed at the telephone pole, correct?
A little past the telephone.
Well, I mean, the jury sees it. Where's the telephone pole?
It's right there.
Right. It's on the other side of your driveway.
Yes. But it's still our driveway because there's 2 lanes of our driveway.
The jury was out looking at it today.
We have 2 different backing spaces. We have a car with 4 cars parked and we have a car with 3 cars parked. We have 2 different
Okay.
backing spaces.
We got it. You understand we were out there today, right?
I do.
Okay, good. Okay, so we can't see Jason's truck at this point. We see your father approaching the truck, right?
Yes.
You don't see Jason approaching your father at all, correct? Okay, if you could continue playing.
Yep, there he goes.
Okay.
I don't know, he's all the way up there.
Can we stop it right there?
You better not do anything stupid.
Thank you. You better not do anything stupid. Now, who said that? Your mom. Can you see? I know it's tough to see, but can you see that little bit in the corner where your father would have approached Jason?
I can right now, yes.
And it's your father going to him, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's your father going right up to him, right?
Yes, I have a conversation when he said it was
A conversation. Okay. Do you know if he threatened him? Did you hear anything? So you don't know what was actually said?
I didn't.
All right, we can continue playing. Thank you. Okay, can we
Oh,
stop?
you better not do it.
You don't know what's going on there, do you?
Not exactly, it's on the other side.
Right. You don't know if there was an exchange or if there was just a one-way conversation, right? And certainly you don't know if your father would have been saying to Jason that. That is correct. Okay. All right, we can continue.
Fucking tell you. No, he's getting drunk. He has a gun out of his hat. Ah! He just shot.
That's fine. I don't want to put you through that again, okay? Okay, why don't you grab a seat? Thank you. Thank you. So you'd agree with me, it was a fairly quick interchange there,
Yes, it was.
and unfortunately, you got to see something that was absolutely horrific.
It was, yes.
Okay. And you don't know what the exchange was between your father and Jason.
I don't.
So it's difficult for you to actually come to an actual conclusion as to what happened, right?
Of course, yes.
I appreciate you coming up there.
Of course.
You're brave.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just briefly. You had mentioned that there was a plan for, sounds like a friend's father to come plow.
Yes.
You know what happened to that plan?
We had it planned since like 5 in the afternoon, and he had work until like very late, and he planned on coming around 10 when we needed him to plow, and he got there 10 minutes later, and he called us to tell us he was here, and my mom was like, you need to leave, like something just went on.
And so he was supposed to come at about 5 o'clock, is what you just said,
Yes.
and he hadn't come.
Yes.
Do you know the communications between your mom and your dad concerning?
I don't. I just know during that time we didn't know if he was going to end up coming, so we knew that we were going to have to probably hand shovel it.
Okay.
So it was.
That was going to be my question. If he didn't show up and he didn't show up at 5, how is that driveway going to be clear?
Yeah, we had work the next morning at 11, so we needed to clear it by that night or the next morning. So it was just more of, there's more snow in our driveway.
I understand that your living situation had you there some days and not there other days.
Yes,
I'm not sure whether you know anything about the first snowstorm of the season and any issues between Jason and your dad.
I do not.
Okay. And so Attorney Sisti asked you some questions about, you know, what you observed with the plow going up to the pile, kind of up to maybe beyond the pole.
Yes, of course.
Do you know whether or not Mr. Levesque was actually finished plowing? Had he pulled, for instance, all the snow out of his driveway?
No, it looked like he was still plowing because in the end of the video when my dad went to go out, he was backing up to plow again.
And it doesn't sound like, given the circumstances, you went over and made any observations of Mr. Levesque's driveway.
I did not.
And how far advanced he was in finishing this task.
Of course.
Have any idea where the snow was ultimately going to end up?
You're right.
Look, the Attorney Sisti asked you some questions about, you know, what happened out there between your dad and Mr. Levesque. And it sounds like you're straight up front, you know, you couldn't hear that conversation.
I could not, no.
But you saw your dad putting on his, you said, you confirmed with Attorney Sisti that the moment you kind of start making observations as he's putting on his hoodie.
Yes.
You see him with any weapons?
He does not know.
Did you see him with, I don't know, a screwdriver or anything on his person?
He didn't even have his phone on him.
Did you see him during the times that you observed him walking away, walking back towards Mr. Levesque, brandishing anything in his hands? That was
Not at all, no.
Thank you. Those are the questions.
Just a couple. Actually, you don't know what was on your father, right?
I do not.
And certainly, from what we saw, and we just saw it briefly from a tough angle, it didn't appear as though Jason would be able to see what was on your father either.
Objection, speculation.
If you can answer it from what you saw on the video.
What are you asking?
You can't tell whether or not Jason saw what was inside your father's pockets, for instance.
I feel like you can. Yes. If you're throwing over a hoodie and there's nothing in the pockets, nothing fell out. So,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have pockets in his sweatpants. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to try to clarify. Did it appear to you as though Jason was watching your father put a hoodie on?
I do not know.
Correct. So the whole hoodie thing really doesn't mean anything.
I believe it does. Yes.
If he saw him putting on a hoodie, maybe that would mean something?
I have no clue if he didn't or did see. He was in his truck.
Okay. So you don't even know if Jason was observing your father when he came out toward him, correct?
No, he was in his truck.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, yeah. Thank you, Your Honor. Angela Violette.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as sometimes happens, we're going to stop a little early today. Just scheduling reasons, it just makes sense for us given the late hour. Rather than start another witness at this point, we're just going to suspend for the rest of the day. We'll start up again tomorrow morning. No worries, though. We are told by the parties that we are well on track to finish this case on time. So we're going to stop today. I will tell you, I do try my best not to waste your time ever. So I do always try to start when I say we're going to start and take breaks when I say we're going to, and we're going to try to do that for the rest of this trial. So I'd like you back here tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
10 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can get here a few minutes early, not too much early, but 10 o'clock or 10 minutes before that would be best. And that way we can try to get started right at 10 o'clock. If by chance we can't start at 10 o'clock, as sometimes happens, that's not the fault of the parties. That's the fault of the court, because sometimes things come up unexpectedly because I have to do on other cases. But we'll do our best to start right now. All right? All of my prior instructions to you remain in place. The most important one, do not talk amongst yourselves or with anyone else about this trial, about the facts of this case. Don't do any independent research. So no internet research. Don't go back to the scene of this location. Those are the main things. And otherwise, have a good night. Thank you.
Please rise.
Oh, don't look at the media copies. That was the third thing I was going to tell you. Obviously, don't review any media accounts about this. That's the third thing. Okay, have a good night.